God is always with you. God is always with you. Peace, peace, be still.
Good morning. What? Welcome. And happy daylight savings time. Did everybody get up okay? It's March 13th. I'm Martha Sincool, and I'll be your service leader today. I welcome all of you to the Umpqua Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are so glad that you are here with us today. Before I forget, if you have one of these, please make sure that it's off. We don't need any competition from ringtones, etc. And I want to thank you for following the protocol of masks, social distancing, vaccination cards, and contact information. We're doing our best to keep people safe. I want to thank the greeters back there, Al and Mary Herring, who are doing a wonderful job in helping people get seated. And as you can see, what we tried to do, because we have cameras rolling, we're trying to keep the center aisle clear. So people who came early will be sitting over on this side, and those that are coming a little bit later will be coming over here. So when they get seated, they're not going to be in front of the cameras. And today, we continue our live streaming to bring our service to the greater community. We're using all of our new equipment that we received from the Chalice Lighter grant. Aline Fifield, wherever she is, would you wave, please, so everybody can see her? She's the one that wrote the grant that helped us get the money from the Chalice Lighter Association. And she's also our ambassador and is person who will be contacting people for contributions. As a result of going live at 10:30, and because our cameras are in the back center, and Jake is in the back. Jake, wave your hand. He's the guy that is running the show. So he needs clear shot. And we have a sort of a gatekeeper over there. Laline is being a gatekeeper to help people sit where it won't block the camera angle. And also, just to know, as we are becoming live, just like in a theater, when the play begins or the performance begins, we're going to ask you to sort of wait in the back and then be seated quietly. We're really going first class now. We're going out to the community, and we're representing our best selves, so just remember that. During our hymn singing, you have the option of standing up or staying seated. According to Jake, you will not be blocking the camera angle if you stand up. A few of us will be standing over here in the front, singing towards you. But if you want to stand up and sing, let her rip. That's great. We are also continuing the fish box in the back. If you brought something for fish, deposit it in the back. And our contributions towards our pledges, or anyone that wants to make a contribution today, please use the pledge box in the back and drop off your contributions in the back in the box, which is right back by the name tags. We also have with us today a new person. Higdon, would you stand up, please, and wave over there? He is now going to stand up while we didn't see you. Not you, Greg, sorry. He's going to be our child care person today. So we recognize him and are very happy that he's here. Now, as you know, we have spent 2 years being closed. And it's like an old car that sat in a garage, and we're getting jump-started. And we're still working on it. And we're still working on bringing our beloved community together, and through all the changes that are taking place here and outside in the world. I want to remind you all to continue to be patient and come from love as we all adjust to the new. Things are different. We have new employees. We're all learning. It's just a different place. We are still the same people. We just have to adjust. And I thank everyone who is here today, and we welcome those who are attending live, and think of those that are not, and you might make a phone call when you have some time. Our speaker today is Dennis Reynolds, who is currently serving the UU Church of Eugene as Minister of Social and Environmental Justice. As we do every week, we start our service with chalice lighting. And the words are from our hymnal. The number is in your order of service, but it's short. You don't need to follow along unless you want to. Be ye lamps unto yourselves. Be your confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves as to the only lamp. Those words were reported to be the Buddha's last words. Now, if you will join us in singing Meditation on Breathing, which is number 1099 from your teal or turquoise hymnal. Sean, could you turn the lights off, please?
invite you to do is to repeat that notion from the song of breathing in and breathing out with words. And I'll share some words, and I invite you to breathe together in this shared community, in Sangha. Breathing in, I am a meadow. Breathing out, I am growing. Meadow, growing. In and out. In and out. Breathing in, I'm a bud on a tree. Breathing out, I'm unfolding. Bud, unfolding. In and out. In and out. Breathing in, I am a babbling brook. Breathing out, I am flowing. Brook, flowing. In and out. In and out. Breathing in, I am the mountain. Breathing out, I am solid. Mountain, solid. In and out. Breathing in, I am the ocean. Breathing out, I am endless. Ocean, endless. Ocean, endless. In and out and into silence. It's so nice to just breathe together in shared space. I have some words to share. It's a story. It's a story that's listed as a story for all ages. And there's some young people who would like to come up closer to see the pictures. Those of you who have chosen not to sit up front might not see the pictures as well, so on following Sundays you might move closer. And the book will also be available afterwards if you want to take a look at the illustrations. I think sometimes illustrations can be part of the message of a good picture book. And I want to share a story, and there's several stories in this particular book. It's Zen Shorts by John Muth. And the book is several stories, as I noted, about a unique individual. The individual is a panda bear who moves into a neighborhood next to a family with 3 young children. And today, one of those children, Michael, has a conversation and hears a story from Stillwell, which is the name of the panda. Michael went to Stillwater. Michael went to see Stillwater. "Here I am," Stillwater called from the top of the tree. "Can I climb up?" said Michael. "If you are careful," said Stillwater. "What if I could fly?" said Michael. "We would then make shadows on the clouds," said Stillwater. "But what if we fell?" said Michael. "If we fell, we might break something," said Stillwater. "That would be bad," said Michael. "Maybe," said Stillwater. "Maybe?" said Michael. And he shared this story. There once was an old farmer who would work hard on his land, and one day his horse ran away. His neighbors came and said, "Such bad luck." "Maybe," the farmer replied. The next day his horse returned with 2 wild horses it had met and brought home. "What great luck, what good fortune," said his neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. The next day, his son decided to try to ride one of those horses, and he was thrown off and broke his leg. "Oh, what bad fortune," said his neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. The next day, a military unit was passing by the farm, and they were conscripting, drafting people to serve in the army. But they saw that this young man had a broken leg, so they left him at home. He didn't have to go to war. "Such good fortune," said the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. "I get it," said Michael. "Maybe good luck and bad luck are all mixed up together. You never know what will happen. You never know what will happen. But what will happen now is an opportunity for kids to go downstairs to childcare, and we'll sing them out." Oh, now please, may the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Thank you, Dennis, for that wonderful little story. Now is the time, as our custom, to celebrate our joys and concerns with our circle of life. I think I'm going to be able to take this mic out of the stand, and you may come up here. I'm going to have people who would like to light a candle on this side. Make sure not to go in the center aisle. Please come around on this side and come across one at a time. We'll do this side first, and then we'll take this side, and you will go out this way. So we're not blocking the center aisle and the cameras. So is there anyone from this side who'd like to light a candle? Please give your name.
Hi, my name is Laline, and I have a candle of great gratitude. Last night I got to attend a dear friend's birthday with the people that I truly deeply love, and some that were not able to be there. And my heart was so full of gratitude. There were people known from 50 plus years, people known personally to me from 40 plus years, and a room full of Unitarians. And it just brought home how much the last 2 years in having this congregation really has meant to me, and the women's group and other activities that made our staying together possible. So in that spirit, I did some thinking, and I realized in 2020, I missed a birthday. In 2021, I missed a birthday. And there were also some times when I wasn't here, because none of us were, for the collection to be passed, and I missed those. So I decided it was time to catch up. And I just wanted to share that with you all, in case anyone else might have some of those feelings.
Here, Lily, light a candle, please. For those of you who aren't familiar with our tradition, those who can share a check in the amount of their birthdays during the time of their birthday. Her birthday is past, long past, twice removed, I think, but that's what we do. So in the future, if you want to share something about your birthday and a check, we would love to have you. Okay, Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan Holbrook. I am going to light one candle with many thoughts, good, positive thoughts for Lucy, our very dear friend, and lots of love to her. And another candle just for the beauty that this congregation is, and another thought about how difficult and exciting and amazing this time is, where people can wear masks and people don't have to wear masks in other spaces. And I just hope that we can all find respect for one another, no matter what their choices are. And then a silent one for change.
Oh, yes, I will. Hi, I'm Nancy Webb, and today is kind of a heavy day for me. My late husband passed away 8 months ago. Today would have been his 69th birthday. Thursday will be our 40th anniversary. So, kind of a heavy week. But yesterday, I looked out to my bird feeder, and there were 2 doves on top of the bird feeder. That's never happened. They're usually on the ground and stuff. But I felt like Skylar was saying to me, it's okay, I'm still here, just keep doing what you're doing. And then I got the notice about the service here today, and I thought, okay, that's from you too. Thank you very much. So I'm grateful to be here today.
Good morning, I'm Phil Moser, and I'm going to light a candle for the magnificent citizen soldiers of the Ukraine, people like you and me, who stepped away from their ordinary lives out of necessity and have taken arms to defend their cities, defend against tyranny, to stand up and say, we will not go lightly into that night. And as we have faced tyranny in our own country, in our own government, and some people who have very strange ideas about what democracy is or isn't. I hope we'll use them as an example of what you must do when it's time to be courageous and lead with your heart instead of your head. Thank you.
Anyone from this side?
I'm J.C. Pratt, or Jackie, if you prefer. I am the birthday person that Laleen was referring to, and the message that I have from day after being 86 is, yes, love is what's left for us to do. That's what we do when we get into this decade, because it's not necessarily to continue to be responsible, to continue to get people to do things, but love is what is to do, and it is your last chance to make it work in your life. So yeah, I've got, when you get to this age, this check gets a little large, but I have some makeup too. All right, so bless this church and bless you all, and let's remember we're important to each other.
Our treasury will thank you.
Yeah, right.
Anyone else from this side before I light another candle? I am going to light a candle for all those joys and concerns that have been not spoken but are in our hearts. And we're so very grateful that you all are here. Thank you. After I finish, we'll sing Spirit of Life.
Check, check. Check, check. There is a river flowing under the ground. There's a
stream of elixir from the ocean of sound. You can tap into the current if you dig deep down in your soul. Be still and let it flow into your vessel. Refill your thirsty reservoir with essence. In your soul there is a river flowing under the ground. There's a stream of elixir from the ocean of sound. You can tap into the current if you dig deep down in your soul. Listen, if you're silent, you can hear it. This is the whispered secret of the Spirit. In your soul there is a river flowing under the ground. There's a stream of elixir from the ocean of sound. You can tap into the current if you dig deep down in your soul. Water, when it is still, is like a mirror. Gather your scattered wits and you'll see clearer. In your soul there is a river flowing under the ground. There's a stream of elixir from the ocean of sound. You can tap into the current if you dig deep down in your soul. Enter into the stillness of the moment. Be present for the beautiful unfoldment of your soul. There is a river flowing under the ground. There's a stream of elixir from the ocean of sound. You can tap into the current if you dig deep down in your soul. In your soul. In your soul. Dig deep down in your soul.
Thank you, Sean, Susie, and Glennis. That was wonderful. The inserts in your orders of service you may take home or put in your hymnal, or we can put it, if you want to recycle them as you on your way out, there's going to be a basket by the back front door. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. Reverend Dennis came to the ministry after a 30-year career as a preschool teacher. You can tell that by the story he told. He's told many stories over time, and I'm sure he has acted out many of them as well. And he was an administrator at the University of Oregon. He has since retired to Eugene, and he served churches in Oregon and Washington State, and as a hospital chaplain. He's been an activist both locally and globally. He believes the most powerful sermons are often those written with a religious text in one hand and a current news source in the other. And he enjoys lifelong learning and the practice of crafting sermons. Our congregation enjoys his wisdom and wit and his ability to share his authentic self with us. And he's going to join me now. We're going to do a reading before the sermon.
The reading Martha and I will share this morning is from the Vietnamese Buddhist priest and teacher Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a poem. Don't say I will depart tomorrow. Even today, I am still arriving.
Look deeply. Every second I am arriving to be the bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, and to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone.
I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive.
I am the mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I'm the bird that sweeps down to swallow that mayfly. I'm the frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog.
I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda.
I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing or loving.
I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands. And I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people dying slowly in a forced labor camp.
My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and my laughter at once, so that I can see that my joy and pain are one.
Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. Thank you, Martha, and thanks for being here, and special thanks for the musicians. It's so very good to be here with you together. It was just over 2 years ago when one of the last public events I participated in on the 9th of March 2 years ago was to stand here in this pulpit with many of you in the room before the world changed for a time. It's been a difficult 2 years. And in the last few weeks, the world has gotten more difficult for some. War rages in the Ukraine. And the economic impacts that are going to resonate from that war will be felt by people across the globe. It's a difficult time. War is always a difficult time. As General Sherman told us long ago, war is hell. Though our Universalist heritage, I want to remind people I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and I put more emphasis on that second word. That part of our heritage teaches us that we need not fear fire and brimstone after we die, but we also acknowledge the reality that humans have the capacity to create hell here on earth. Hellfires are burning in the Ukraine, and they're smoldering still in the South Sudan and in Syria. Today, though, I want to take some time to honor the life and legacy of a man of peace, the Vietnamese Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, who was called Tay by his students. He died in December, and this weekend marks the 49th day since his birth. It's a significant day in Buddhist tradition, and there are special gatherings amongst his followers across the globe, particularly at Plum Village, the monastery he had established in France. Thich Nhat Hanh knew war. He grew up in Vietnam, where World War II morphed into a war of liberation against the French that in time became what the people in that country called the American War. He was not himself a warrior, at least as not as most people would use that word. He was, in his own words, a simple monk. This simple monk has touched the hearts and minds of millions. He was a courageous seeker of deep peace and a more just and sustainable and peace-filled planet. He brought forth new notions within and about Buddhism, engaged Buddhism, and a deepened sense of the concept of interbeing, were precepts he expanded on and helped bring to the West. Interbeing, that's the notion that this poem speaks so powerfully. Therein in the poem, he lifts up the Buddhist notion of how we are all connected. We are all part of all beings, great or small, visible or invisible, near or far away. We are all connected. At the time of this poem's writing, war was raging in Uganda, and information about the excesses of Soviet-era labor camps in the Soviet Union had been surfacing. In those times, many were fleeing the post-war chaos of Vietnam in small, barely seaworthy boats. These refugees faced not only the perils of the open sea, but were preyed upon by desperate pirates who attacked them. Tay had heard an account of the suicide of a young rape victim amongst the boat people, and he had in agony and pain chosen to take her own life. In the poem, he invites us all to recognize the reality of our connectedness to pain and to joy. That there is victim and pirate in each of us. And once again, we are deeply connected. He invites us to wake up so that the door of our hearts will be left open, the door of compassion. In these times when war rages in Europe, we need our hearts to be open. In these times when the divisive political and cultural divides still churn in the United States, we need our hearts to be open. In these times When reports and our eyes and our experiences affirm that climate change is unfolding here and now, we need our hearts to be open. In our times, I think we might add some more stanzas to his poem. I am the Ukrainian mother holding tight to my children while bombs fall all around me and rockets fly overhead. I am the Russian soldier, pockets filled with sunflowers, who lies wounded and bleeding on a roadside in a country towards which I feel no malice. I am the Western low-wage worker whose family budget is strained by inflated prices for fuel as corporate profits continue to soar. I am a faraway observer, my eyes filled with tears and with visions of violence, seeking to ward off comfort and assistance, both to those far away and within my own heart. We are all connected. As the Beatles songs offered, I am you and you are me, and we are all together. As we Unitarian Universalists would describe it, we are all part of an interdependent web of all existence. We have a bumper sticker on our car that offers a short Thich Nhat Hanh quote. It reads, "We are here to awaken from the illusion of our separateness." We are here to awaken from the illusion of our separateness. That is the core of the teachings with Thich Nhat Hanh shared with the world. My own awareness of Thich Nhat Hanh came of my opposition to the war our country was raging in his home country of Vietnam. I had read about how the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had nominated this Buddhist peace activist for the Nobel Peace Prize. I decided to check him out. Some of the early of his books had come to the U.S., and I bought a copy of one. By the way, one of his earliest publishers here in the U.S. was Beacon Press, our Unitarian Universalist publishing house. Anyway, the book I began with was titled Peace in Every Step. Now, I've misplaced along the years my copy of this particular book, but I remember his tips about how we might find moments of peace in everyday life. So, for example, he suggested when we're stopped by a red light, we have a choice to make how we might choose to spend that time. We can either grip the steering wheel more tightly and, fumble anxiously as we wait for the light to change and think of all the things we need to do and the places we need to be, or we could simply choose to lighten our grip on the wheel, to breathe in deeply, to breathe out, and take a moment to pause and perhaps appreciate that a pause has been given to us. It's a choice. He also suggested the simple practice of focusing on what you're doing right now and be doing that, rather than planning for what comes next or reflecting on what has happened earlier. One suggestion he had is when washing the dishes, to wash the dishes. To feel the warm water on your hands and that little bit of slickness that comes with the soap, and just savor the feeling. And to watch how the light sometimes will glisten off of a wet plate. Savor that precious moment. Being, as he described it, being mindful. Now that's mindful as one word, not the other version that I all too often do when I fill my mind full to full and overflowing with all the things I need to think about and all the things I need to do, and my forever lengthening list of to-do lists. I found I could use some of his suggestions to find moments where I touched on the thing he called mindfulness. But the connection with all life he claimed would come from a deeper meditation practice was something that for many years was inaccessible to me. I tried to meditate, and I tried again. Year after year, I would be somewhere where a time of meditation was offered. I would try to be just in the moment and breathing in and breathing out. I had very limited success if it went on for very long. For soon my mind would wander away from that moment into the past or into the future. What meditation practitioners called monkey mind would chatter away inside my head. When I tried to silence it, it would simply chatter more. And a debate between my intentions and my experienced reality would rage inside my head. Shouting at that chattering monkey was of no help. So I would give up and I would simply end this meditation and get up and move on. A number of years ago at a Unitarian Universalist camp at Elliott Institute on the Puget Sound, I had a time where I had a bit more success. Our theme speaker that week was the Unitarian Universalist minister James Ishmael Ford. James is an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister who served congregations in Chandler, Arizona, and Providence, Rhode Island. He's also an ordained Zen priest. James suggested a meditation technique of counting breaths, breathing in one and out one and in two, and on as a way to give focus to a busy mind and allow some settling into meditation. And it worked, well, sort of, though the busy chatter of monkey mind would often soon sneak back into my head. During the weeks at camp, James offered not only multiple times each day for meditation, but also an opportunity for one-on-one conversations with the Zen master. The Zen master in this case was James Ishmael Ford. I signed up for a slot, and when I sat down and talked to him, I explained my problems of thoughts continually rising up and taking over the silent space in my head. He smiled, did one of those wise teacher nods, and said it happens to him all the time. The key, he suggested, was to just notice the thoughts as they arise and watch them as they drift in and in time back out of your mind. To not focus on the distraction of that thought, but rather to notice and then to return to the breath, in and out. I kept trying to meditate, though that often meant carving out quiet time that did not seem to exist in my busy life. The next year at Elliott, I resolved to join the meditation group each and every morning. I would get up early enough for my morning run and then fulfill my parental duties by getting my then young son Nick to the swimming lagoon for a 7 a.m. polar bear plunge. Then I'd run off to the pre-breakfast morning meditation. One morning, while quickly drying from my plunge, a friend greeted me and asked me how my week was going. I replied that I'd love to talk, but I had to run to meditation. Run to meditation, they queried. Yes, I said, I have to run to meditation. I realized I had very much missed the point. So I stopped, smiled at my wise friend, and took time to enjoy the beautiful morning unfolding around us. After, I walked back to my residence and I relished the warmth of the shower I took before walking, not running over to the central dining room for breakfast. As noted, I had first encountered Thich Nhat Hanh through his writings, and as I began to prepare for this sermon, I decided to go to his bookshelf and pull off, some books I had of his. I knew I had a few there, and I went and I looked on a couple of different bookshelves, and I ended up counting a total of 15 books of his that reside in our home. They range from a biography of the Buddha, Old Path, White Clouds, to theme-focused writings and books titled things like Anger, Wisdom for Cooling the Flames, The Art of Power, Reconciliation, Healing the Inner Child, Love in Action, and even one he co-authored titled Savor, Mindful Eating, Mindful Life. There is also The World We Have, a Buddhist approach to peace and ecology, and the one currently on my bedside table, Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. And there are more out there. In his lifetime, he wrote over 100 books. Beacon Press is releasing in June a special edition of his Guide to Meditation, The Blooming of a Lotus. I'm putting in a pre-order for that one. Looks like it's going to be a very beautiful edition. I have been reading his works for decades, yet for much of the time I've not always practiced what he preached, what is to slow down and walk slowly, sit and breathe and pay attention. Slow down, sit or walk, breathe, pay attention. I often find that hard to do. I am what I self-describe as a doist, with endless lists of things to do. When the list gets too short, I add some more things down there at the bottom. As I've shared here before, 7 years ago this January, I had a very serious life-threatening pulmonary illness that landed me after a life flight in an intensive care unit on life support for 4 days. My recovery at home was long, and I was for a time incredibly weak. I was also unable to think clearly due both to the illness and pain medication. All I could do was sit quietly and breathe with gratitude for every breath. All I could do was sit quietly and breathe with gratitude for every breath. So, this is meditation. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And in the midst of that quiet, I began to notice closely the birds on the feeder outside my window. I noticed the way the sunlight moved through the yard as the day progressed. As I began to heal and spring returned to the world all around me, I was just a wee bit more aware of the buds that formed and then unfolded on the trees in my yard and all around. I learned out of necessity at first and intentionally later to walk more slowly. For a time I had to walk very gently because one thing that had happened in my illness is all the calluses had peeled off of my feet, and my feet were soft, and I had to gently touch the earth. It seemed my illness had been both good luck and bad luck all mixed up. That spring, 2 Buddhist teachers, Larry Ward and his wife Peggy Rowe, came to live on Whidbey Island and in our own little village of Langley. It is said that when the student is ready, the teacher will come. I was ready. Peggy and Larry soon were leading weekly sits at a venue just a short walk from our home. Day-long silent retreats had soon followed. They were students of Thich Nhat Hanh, and his teachings were part of our shared time, as his words were interwoven with our time spent silently sitting or walking or eating together. I enrolled and completed a 6-month training called Mindfulness Mastery and spent more hours sitting and walking. The individuals who gathered each week became a community of fellow practitioners and seekers. We became a Sangha. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "The miracle is not to walk on water, but to walk on the earth mindfully." With Larry and Peggy's guidance, I began to learn what those words meant. The following year, Peggy and Larry moved away from Whidbey. The Sangha continued to meet with a small group of us as co-facilitators. That group disbanded after another year, but the seeds sown then regenerate within me each season. Now, meditation has become one of the things I place on my to-do list. And I have learned through practice to be more mindful as I do many of those other things that are on the list, be it working in the garden, baking bread, washing dishes, or even writing a sermon. With practice, I find my mind can be a little quieter some of the time. In these dark times, when we are still under the lingering shadow of a pandemic, and as we witness the continuing reports of the horror of war, I find I need to practice mindfulness to ground me and to help me see all that is and all that is possible. I want to close with the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. When light shines, darkness does not disappear. When light shines, darkness does not disappear. It merges with the light. It becomes the light. May you walk mindfully in light.
See if anybody wants to do a response. As in your program, we have time for sermon responses. In the past, we used to pass a microphone amongst the congregation. Unfortunately, we can't do that. If there's anyone that wants to briefly make a comment, please come up from that side first.
We don't need to. We could all just sit together in silence.
We could.
Or if words seem appropriate to you, we will honor that as well.
It's up to you. Did anyone raise your hand if you have something you want to say? I think they've said it all. Thank you, Dennis.
Then we invite you to rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn. Be ye lamps unto yourself. Number 184 in your hymn.
we close with more words from Thich Nhat Hanh.
Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become holy ourselves.
Let us be aware of the source of being, common to us all and to all living things.
Evoking the presence of the great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings.
Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering for each other.
With humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Shalom, salam, amen, and blessed be.
Join us in singing our message as we go out to the world. Go lift it up. Blessed be.